Hello, everybody, and welcome to our session here on working with subscribers. So we are in the second set of modules for ConvertKit. So hopefully you've had a chance to watch the previous segment on tags and segments, if you will. If you haven't, you can certainly jump over there after this video. But realize we'll be touching on the subjects of tags and segments throughout this entire training session on ConvertKit, but it might be great to go back at any time to do a quick brush up. So let's get started. Our module topics for today are permission-based marketing. So we're going to talk a little bit about the CAN-SPAM law. And you may go, yeah, I know that. But you have to realize there are a lot of clients who are new to the online industry and they don't know what the CAN-SPAM law is about. So it's good for you to know it and be able to educate them if they come to you and ask you to do something that you know is not part of the permission-based marketing laws. We're going to revisit tag sequences. We'll talk a little bit about forms. We will deep dive forms in a later module. We're going to talk about subscribers. We're going to talk about something called subscriber states. Then we're going to look at how to add and import subscribers, the bulk actions that you can perform on subscribers, how to manage those, and then obviously tips and tricks throughout. So first up is permission-based marketing, and all email marketing tools, I don't care which one it is, they all have to comply with the CAN-SPAM law, no matter what program, no matter your location or your client's location. Now I've provided a link here to the CAN-SPAM law, and it's the FTC law, which is here in the US, but it basically covers what you need to know. You can certainly Google your own home country to see what else they have. I know Canada has stricter laws than we do here in the US, but if you have Canadian clients, you're going to need to make sure that you are, or your clients are looking at those stricter laws. Basically what it means is that people have to say yes in order for you to email them anything. And ways for them to say yes, to give you a verbal permission, or for them to opt into something on a website, on a social media platform, and the like. If somebody unsubscribes from your list, that means they no longer would receive any emails from you. There's also something that when people go to unsubscribe from an email list, you have the option to mark something as spam. And again, that's something that all email providers have, is that unsubscribe feature, because they want to track to see if you are spamming your list. And if you are considered a spammer, you will be blacklisted by all the different email marketing providers, which means you've lost your list. So you want to make sure that you're not abusing the rule. And a lot of times it's just because people don't know there is a rule. So educate your clients if they come to you from a marketing event and hand you a stack of business cards and say, here, put these in my database for me in ConvertKit. Your first question should be, well, did they give you permission? And if they say no, then it's not something that you can do. It's against the CAN-SPAM law, and you could both get in very big trouble. So it's a time to educate. Now, I had a client who wanted me to do it anyways, and I said, no, I would not do it. He'd have to find somebody else because it's not, I don't want to be part of that. Right? To me, that's unethical. So use your best judgment, but use it also as an opportunity to educate. Okay, so a subscriber is also known as a contact, is also known as a list. In ConvertKit, they're called subscribers. And there are several different ways that you can actually work with subscribers. And what I mean by that is you can manually import them, or you can manually add them, or have them come through something like a form, which we're going to talk more about forms later. And when you import or add a subscriber manually, again, if you, let's say you have a stack of business cards that were given to you and you had asked permission to put these people on your list, then you would want to add them manually. You could add them or import them. When you add them, you're going to put them in a tag or a sequence or a form. You can also put them in a segment. So remember, in ConvertKit, they're on a list. So everybody you bring into your ConvertKit program, right? Let's just think there's one big global list, needs to have a tag associated with it. And the tag should be a clear indication of how they came to be on your list and what their interests are, or what actions they've taken. And that's what we talk about in the previous module on tags and segments. So just again, a refresher on tags. Okay, they're used instead of list. You can think of them as labels as you want. They're a great way to organize everything into segments. They should be descriptive, and there really should only be one action per tag. So if they purchased a product, you could have a purchase tag and you could have a product tag, or you could combine them. A good rule of thumb is to have one action per tag, but you can kind of leave that up to you if you want. Okay. Always good to have a tag strategy. If your clients don't have one, help them create one. It's a really great added on value service because clients need this help. And explain to them how tags work, because a lot of times people don't even understand what tags are. They just know that they have them. You can help them create, like I said, a great added on service for you. It's beyond it, above and beyond just doing your e-zines or email in ConvertKit. It would be going above and beyond. So you'd want to make sure to charge extra for that as a value added service. And again, see the previous webinar for details on that. Okay, so we're going to talk real quick about subscriber states. And there are 6 of these, and I'm going to bounce you over and show you what I'm talking about. But there's confirmed, and the confirmed are all subscribers. Okay, so that means everybody on your list, everybody that has a tag associated with them who have not opted out of your list. And it comes down to, are you using a double opt-in or a single opt-in? And you have the ability to choose. A double opt-in means they take 2 actions to get on your list. A single option means there's only 1 action. So for instance, an action would be to sign up on a website and click a button. That would be a single opt-in, but if you sent them an email asking them to confirm their opt-in, that would be a double opt-in. So confirmed is all subscriber. Unconfirmed, and this is only if you use double opt-in. Okay, if you're not using a double opt-in, you won't see anything here. Canceled means they've unsubscribed from your list, which means you can no longer email them. Complained means they marked the email as spam when they unsubscribed. Bounced means the email is invalid, which means it's not going anywhere, right? And then cold is something really cool in ConvertKit. It's anybody that hasn't interacted with you within 90 days. So if you've been sending email and they're not opening them, they're not clicking on links, they're not interacting, they're called cold subscribers. And then you'll notice that unconfirmed, canceled, and bounced all have an asterisk next to them. And I just want you to know that anybody in these categories or states don't count towards your total number of subscribers. Remember, your total number of subscribers has to do with the membership level that you have. So I'm going to bounce over here to, oops, close that little guy, to ConvertKit. And as you know, this is our homepage. Not a whole lot going on, but I'm going to bounce over to subscribers. And so you can see here, confirmed subscribers. If I hover here, you can see I have all subscribers. I can see unconfirmed. Okay, notice I don't have any of those because I imported these individuals directly from Aweber. And by the way, when you import from another program, Aweber, Constant Contact, MailChimp, your clients don't have to re-opt in, or I should say your contacts don't have to opt in again. Some programs, when you import, such as One Shopping Cart, make everybody opt in again. And in this instance, that's not true. And again, I don't see any subscribers under unconfirmed because I'm using a single opt-in. Canceled, complained. And believe it or not, don't get your nose out of joint, which I used to when people complain about your what you're sending. I get things marked as spam all the time, and it's probably just not good information for the person that's absorbing it. So take it for what it's worth and moved on. And bounce subscribers would be anybody who has bounced, and then cold. Now, since this is a new program, I haven't used it much. It's more of a sandbox. I don't have a lot of details there, but I wanted to show you that. So these are my subscribers that I have in here. I have a total of 10. You have the name and the email address. Those are the things that are really needed. The date they subscribed and they're confirmed. This is your status, which would automatically play into these states here. You also have the ability to search up here in the upper right corner, and just note that it only searches for email addresses. It doesn't search for names. So you'd have to know an email address, right? So I'd have to type it in here. Right, and it finds it for me. So just realize that. And then you've got your bulk actions, which we'll talk about here in a minute. And then you have the ability to import or add a subscriber, and then you have your segments and your tags, which we looked at earlier. So I've actually created a very simple Excel spreadsheet that I've saved as a CSV file. So when you import into ConvertKit, it has to be what's called a CSV, which is comma separated values. And if you're on a Mac like myself, if you're in Excel, because you can create it as a spreadsheet, a Google Docs, Excel spreadsheet. Just make sure that when you save it as a Windows CSV, not a DOS-based CSV. That's just kind of a note. That's for Mac users, okay? So I want to import subscribers, so that's where we're going to start. I'm going to click on the button, okay? And then it says, where should the subscribers be imported to? So forms, sequences, or tags. Now sequences are your autoresponders, which we're going to get to. Forms we're also going to get to. So realize we're going to deep dive more of these as we go through. This is just an overview of how to get subscribers on your list. And tags. So I want to start by pulling people into a tag. Let's say I'm going to import these people from Aweber. So I want to mark that. Always good to do that. Now remember I mentioned in the earlier video that if you already have a list and it's already segmented, let's say in Aweber or MailChimp, you can also create tags that will carry over. So if I had additional tags, I could certainly click the buttons here, okay? You can drag and drop or click the button. And I need to go and find my lovely little file. Okay, here's my import sample. Remember, it has to be a CSV file. Okay, what happens is anytime you import into any email marketing tool, a list of contacts, you have to map the fields. And that basically means tell it where to dump the information, what fields. So you can see here, I have the headers, the fields, and the sample data. So for instance, the first person in my list is named Theo, and I want it to go into the name field. So I would choose first name. So you want to map these. Now realize you can add custom fields. So if you know you're going to need additional information because maybe you have birth dates and anniversary dates and other information that you're importing, you can create custom fields, and I'll show you how to do that. But basically the most important pieces are name and email address. And you can notice I have company name and business phone because I created those additional fields. So you would want to create those additional fields if you want to pull them over in an import. So you get that information because you don't want to have to type it if not necessary. Okay. And then I simply hit import. Okay, and it says we're importing. You'll receive an email when it's done. So right now I have 10, but those new imported subscribers will go into the same tag. They'll all go into Aweber import. And actually, if I click on that, you can see now that I have 16 people versus 10. So I pulled in 6 more. Okay. Remember, you can always click on a tag to see the subscribers that are in that specific tag. Okay. I'll go back to all. So that's a simple import. Now, if you want to do it individual, you could just hit add subscriber here and put in their name. And then choose again. Remember, you have to put them in some type of source in order for them to be easily found for you to communicate with them. So it's a form, a sequence, or a tag. So I could say VA Quick Start Guide, save, and I added that person. Very, very simple. Okay. So now you can see I have 17 wonderful people in my list. So that's how to add a subscriber as well as import subscribers. And the biggest thing is just remember they don't go into a list when you import into ConvertKit. They go into a tag, a form, or a sequence. And my rule of thumb would be everybody that's imported or added should have a tag, at least one tag, so you know how they came to be on your list. That's why I'm using the Aweber import option. So I'm going to bounce back over here real quick. We talked through those. We talked about importing subscribers. Very simple: name, email address. You can have additional custom fields, which I'll show you how to create. So when you import, you can actually map the fields one-to-one. It needs to be a CSV, as I mentioned, and it's very easy to do in Excel or any spreadsheet program. It's just a file save as, and you would choose that option. And remember, they don't need to re-opt in to your list if you import them. They don't have to say, yes, I want to be here, because they've already opted in. Remember, it's all based on that permission based marketing. Add a subscriber. I showed you how to do that. It's simple: name and email, and then select a tag, a sequence, or form. I would always recommend that everybody have at least one tag associated with them. And so then you have your bulk actions, and this means that you can do multiple things on multiple subscribers. You can tag them, add them to a sequence, you can export them, or you can delete them. Oops, there we go. Okay, so here's your bulk actions, and none of these show up. Notice I'm actually clicking on the button, but nothing's happening. You have to actually select them here. Now you can select all by clicking on subscriber, or you can actually go in and select individuals, and then you'll notice you can hover over the bulk actions button and it's live. And so I could say tag them, and it'll say, okay, what tag? So I click on tags, and I'll say, okay, well, they loaded my quick start guide. I hit save, done. So any kind of actions on multiple people, you can easily do that. You can tag, you can add to a sequence, you can export, and you can also delete. Okay, so that just shows you what those are, so it makes it easy for you. And a good idea, I usually export my contact list once a month just so I have a backup copy. Okay, managing subscribers. This is where you can go in and edit. You can remove them from your list. If you would just want to remove an individual, you can do that, or you could do it with bulk actions, and you can add custom fields. And so our custom fields, we'll talk about that real quick. So let's say I want to, first of all, I'm going to unselect these little guys. And let's go in here and if I want to say I want to edit to Sally, basically you find the individual subscriber and you click on their name and it opens up a second screen. You can add additional information. You can change your email address, you can add business phone, you can add company. Here's where you add new fields. Excuse me, and this will add it across the board. So it's not just adding it for Sally, it's adding it for all subscribers. And so if you know that you're going to be pulling in data that there are no fields in ConvertKit, then I would just create your own user ID, right? Add yourself as a user in here, a subscriber, and then go in and add those additional fields, right? So I'll say website and update. Now that website will be available for anybody. Okay, so if you have those multiple fields, make sure that you add yourself as a subscriber and then go in and add the additional fields so when you do the import, they're available for you. Down here, it shows you any form sequences that I might be in. I have none. Shows me email history. Okay, shows me the tag that I have. I can edit the subscriber. I can delete the subscriber, and I can add a tag by just selecting it. Okay, edit subscriber basically takes you to the same place. Okay, just a different way to get there. Save. That's it. Simple, simple. So now if I go back to all my subscribers, and I'll click on Mindy here. Okay, notice that website's available. And then you can see you have a trash can here so you can delete any additional fields that you don't need. So that's easy to do. So your homework, so this is a quick session, is create a list. So grab a spreadsheet, whether it's Excel or Google Docs, whatever it might be. And you can use this wonderful little tool called throwawaymail.com to create just some email addresses so you don't have to make them up. But have 4 or 5 that you can import. So I want you to create an actual little spreadsheet, use that throwawaymail.com to create 4 email addresses, and then put them in the spreadsheet, save it as a CSV file. So you want to make sure it's a Windows, not DOS if it asks. And then if you want to, before you do the import, you can add a custom field for your company to one of your imported subscribers, just to understand how that works. Okay? So this is just an opportunity for you to get the idea of how to import, assign them to whatever tag you want. You can create your own tag, but make sure you do assign them to whatever tag you want. I'll leave that up to you. If you need help, feel free to click on the help button in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. You can send us an email, members@thetechiementor.com. You can start a conversation in our Facebook group, or feel free to comment below the video here, and I will get you an answer either way. Just a big thank you, and I'll see you in the next session. Bye.